Hi, this is Roger Cabe with Vision Outreach International, and I want to give you an update of a recent mission trip that I and a team of 9 others took. We was going November the 1st through the 8th to the Dominican Republic. And if many of you remember, there was Hurricane Melissa that recently went through Jamaica and was affecting some of the Dominican Republic. And so we had a group of 10 or 11 that was going with us. And 2 days before we were going to go, one of our surgeons and an assistant felt because of the hurricane and the lack of peace that they had and the concern for some of their family members, they felt like they couldn't go. And we assured them that we want them to be at peace. And if they don't feel like they need to go, maybe they shouldn't go, and we'll just pray that God would work things out with us just having one surgeon. After we got off the Zoom meeting with those individuals that evening, I made a phone call to an individual that's done many trips with us. His name is Sam Powdrill. He had served in Africa for many years as a surgeon there, and he had just gotten back from the Amazon and said, "You caught me at a good week. I don't have anything going on until Friday, so let me pray about it and I'll let you know in the morning." And the next morning he said, "I will go and I will have to leave on Thursday to come home. I can't stay over till Saturday." So he said, "That would be great. We'd love to have you with us." So this is a report about our trip to the Dominican Republic. Our organization has a little tagline that says, "Changing lives one eye at a time." And that's what we did. And that's what we try to do. So our mission trip was to Salcedo, Dominican Republic, and this is our team here on the left of 10 individuals ranging in age from 36 to 82. We had individuals from North Carolina, from Iowa, from Washington State, from Kentucky, from Michigan, and from the Dominican Republic. And you can see that we worked up in the north part of the Dominican Republic in a city called Salcedo. It's a mountainous region, and many of these people don't have access to eye care, or the access that they do have would be cost prohibitive for them. They can't afford it, or they would have to wait a year or two before they could get surgery. And so we try to focus in on people that could not afford surgery. We don't go there to take any type of surgeries away from the local ophthalmologists. That's not our desire. Our desire is to minister and to help those that are underserved. And so that's the people that we looked for. We actually arrived in the country late on Saturday night at about 11 p.m. What we didn't realize is that about 2 weeks earlier, the country had implemented some new rules. Not only did we need a letter of recommendation from the hospital, which we had, we needed a recommendation from the central principality and from the province that we're going to be serving. So when we tried to go through customs and immigrations, they said, "No, you can't take all of this equipment and these supplies into the country because you don't have the proper paperwork." And we really didn't know anything about it until that moment. So we negotiated with them for about 2 hours, and to no avail. They kept 8 pieces of luggage. So it was about a 45-minute drive from the airport to the hotel. So we got to the hotel about 3 a.m. and we were all exhausted. So we got a later start on Sunday morning. But as a norm, what we would do about 5:30 in the morning, I and 2 other guys would come to my room and drink coffee, and we would talk about the deeper things of faith and challenge one another and encourage each other to continue in the pursuit of godliness and holiness. And then about 7 a.m., the rest of the team would come together and we'd have a time of devotions, a time of prayer, and we'd bathe the day in prayer, and then we'd get ready to go to the hospital. So on Sunday morning, we went to the local hospital, and it was quite a nice facility. The Lions Club was working with us, and we got a tour of the hospital and found out where we could do surgery and where we could set up our sterilization, where we could do post-ops, pre-ops, all of that type of things. And we set up the one microscope that we had, but we only had enough supplies to do just a few surgeries. And we thought, well, maybe we can go ahead and get those surgeries done on Monday morning. Well, we got to the hospital on Monday morning. We were ready to go. We didn't have enough supplies to do a lot of surgeries, but we thought if we could do three or four or five, that would be helpful. But we were told that the administrator of the hospital said, I don't want you to do surgery until you get those letters of permission. And so we had to wait. And we wait and we wait and we ate and we wait and we ate. And so we were waiting around to get those letters. There were emails and phone calls going back and forth to all of the people that were responsible for giving us those letters. And finally, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we got a letter and they said, you have my permission to start surgeries. In fact, the person that gave the letter said, tell those people that are calling us to quit calling us. So we felt like, the lady, the widow that was asking for justice from the judge that kept knocking on the door until she got what she was asking for. So we got the letters and we decided that we'd start surgeries. In the meantime, before we started surgeries, we had a few cases of supplies that we were organizing and putting things where they needed to be. The surgery supplies back in the back, the pre-op supplies up front. And then we were able to start doing our screening. So we have to do several different tests on the people. We have to measure the length of their eye, the curvature of their eye, the pressure of the eye. And so we started all those tests about 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon. And this is our theme verse. It says, Jesus had compassion on them and touched their eyes. Immediately they received their sight and followed him. And that's our desire, not only to restore physical sight, but to restore spiritual sight also. Well, we also, after we do all the testing and realize that these people are candidates for surgery, then we have to go to blocking. And some of the people in the blocking area are nervous. I would be nervous too if I saw a doctor coming to me with a syringe and a needle about an inch or an inch and a half long. And so we had times of prayer there in the blocking room for these patients. They were taken from the blocking room back to surgery. And the surgeries that we were able to do, we were hoping to do about 80, but because of the glitch and not getting our supplies until about noon on Tuesday, getting the rest of our supplies and our sterilization, our second microscope, it slowed us down. So we were only able to do about 48 surgeries that week, but they all went well. And we were excited to talk to some of the patients after surgery. This is one of the ladies that got surgery. She was 94 years old. Now, we did surgery on one eye and we didn't realize it until after surgery. Before surgery, she could only see counting fingers right in front of her face, and that's about all she could see. After surgery, the first day, it didn't seem like the surgery worked very well because she was 2,600, and that's just not acceptable. But we realized after doing some extra testing and screening that she had some optic nerve problems in that eye, and it is causing her surgery not to be as effective. But she was such a sport. She says, I've got another eye here. I would love to see if you could do work on that. So after a couple of days, we did the second eye. And after surgery, she was 20/60, which is phenomenal compared to just counting fingers. And here's some of the comments that she made to us as a team. She said, I put my trust in God's hands. My family members were afraid of the operation. She says, but I tell everybody to come here because you know what you're doing and you do things right. May God bless you and give you life and health. She was so excited about her new sight. After surgery, you do post-ops the second day or one day after surgery. We give each patient some drops. We give them some medications. We give them a pair of readers, a pair of sunglasses, and we do an exam on them to make sure everything's okay. And in the package, we also include a tract that we have written, and it's just talking about not just physical sight, but spiritual sight. We don't force religion or Jesus on anybody, but we give them an opportunity to know our heart. And this tract just basically talks about Jesus didn't just come to heal eyes, he came to call people to follow him. What does that mean? It means to be with him, to learn from him, to become like him. And so that's what this tract talks about. It's not just in English, but it's in the language of the people, so they can take this and read it at their convenience. And it's our hope, if they would, that they would too would follow Christ and become more like him in their everyday life. So as we went on through the week, you could see that we had many happy patients. They were excited about it. We had a good week. We did surgery Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, post-ops on Friday, and then we got ready to go home on Saturday. We had an early flight from the airport on Saturday at 6 a.m., so we had to get up about 1:45, 2 o'clock, in order to pack the trucks and get the luggage in the trucks and drive the 45 minutes over to the airport and get through security and customs and everything in order to catch our flight at 6 o'clock. So you can see us early in the morning packing our supplies, getting them in the truck, tying them down. And we had a little oops there. You can see on the right side, a note to self, don't lay the luggage too close to the landscape. This is not an AI tarantula. This is a real one. And so we realized, okay, these things exist down there. We were not used to seeing these. And it was no big deal. We got the tarantula off. We just hoped that it didn't lay 1,000 eggs in our luggage. So anyway, you can tell once we finally got into the airport and got on the plane, we were on our way home and everybody lived happily ever after. You can see our team members there, they're exhausted. And so once we got on the plane and got up in the air, just about all of us fell asleep and got a nap. So we want to say to all of you who supported us, who pray for us, thank you so much for your prayers, for your financial support. And we ask you to continue to pray for us as we continue to restore both physical and spiritual sight to those in need. God bless.